Well, hello, how are you doing? I'll talk about the three realms of being. Can't say existence because existence refers to psychophysical embodiment. People like to say that, but it's wrong. Also, too, on the true nature of evil. I was in a pawn shop today, and I got this bag. It's genuine military. It's a Marpat bag, and it's made by Arc'teryx. I think you know who Arc'teryx is. That's the entity that makes the super expensive clothing and outdoor gear for the super rich. Yeah, it's even got an Arc'teryx tag in it. It's genuine military. I got a few of them. It's worth $150 all day long. I got it for $30. It's basically like new. You might ask why a company that makes outdoor expensive gear, super expensive gear, would make stuff for the military. And there's a reason for that. And the answer is that the U.S. military pays a lot more money than granola munchers do. Even though it's Arc'teryx, they make jackets, like super thin jackets. Like, that's a $30 jacket. No, it's an Arc'teryx jacket. It's $400 or $500. Whoa! I don't know if you ever priced any of their camping outdoor wear for anyway, I couldn't believe it. I got it for $30. It's worth $150 all day long. I want to talk about the three realms. By the way, the Trinity has nothing to do with any creationistic religion. It's infinitely more ancient than that. I've been studying symbolism. Actually, I don't really have to study it. I kind of understand it intuitively. For a very long time, there's the Triratna, which is usually translated as the triple jewel. It's actually symbolism. I'm going to post an article tonight about the Triratna. Triple jewel, that's not what it means. The three realms of being. There's the transcendent realm and the realm of embodiment, and then there's the realm that's kind of a limbo realm that sits between those three. Also, too, the Pythagoreans knew about this, and there's a trinity where everything stops. In other words, everything's complete, and that's at ontos, or being, number 5 in the Fibonacci sequence, which is 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. Well, the first aspect of that trinity, which is super ancient, we have no idea how old it is, it's that old, is 1 and 1. The second aspect is 2 and 3. That's matter and mass. And the third is ontos, being. And of course, the same is true of life itself. Life is the consubstantiality of matter and spirit, but you can't join matter and spirit without a third thing. That third thing, of course, is water. It's the reason why that particular geometry is tattooed on the back side of my hand here. It's upside down. It's the 108, 36, 36, or 115 triangle of the Pythagoreans. You actually take this in triplicate, and you end up with the Pythagorean pentagram. Same is true with the broadcast of the radio, which would be kind of analogous to consciousness. We have the signal, which is the first aspect, and then, of course, you have the body, which would be the radio. But there's this third thing attached to the radio, which would be analogous to water, because without the antenna, you can't join the radio and the signal. It don't work. Same way you can't join matter and spirit without that miraculous little third thing called water. Before getting to this, I've actually showed people this, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form picking on the guy, and I don't want to mention his name. And this is also reveals a secret that people don't understand, because I talk about the fact that there's two lights and there's two darknesses, and if you understand that and the binary conjugate, you can understand about 85% of metaphysics, because all of this you can explain to, someone that's very young. I mean, if you can't, then you don't understand it yourself, which is true. Anyway, this guy actually admits all of his videos look the same, and I think he even said he used to be a ballet dancer. He's super fit, and he actually said in his video that he summons the light bringer. And, this is a reference to Lucifer. And I'm not talking about, this anthropomorphic idea of Satan, yeah? When people hear the word light bringer, they literally think of light, but that which brings the light is not the light. Because you and everybody else is confused entirely about light, and you confuse light with illumination. That which is illumined, like me right now from these lights from afar, there's no light in that which is illumined. That which brings light is not light itself, it's the disturbance of light. Because the bringer is the messenger or the carrier. Well, the messenger or the carrier of light is its modulation. So when you actually say light bringer, people think, light! That's not a bad thing. Light bringer, you know, old Lucy, i.e. Lucifer. Can't be that bad. Not that there is such a actual being. There are, of course, demons, which doesn't imply God, by the way. I'll talk about that here in a second. It's the disturbance. Anyway, this guy's got a lot of videos. And in other videos, I was showing people this guy's videos. Like, I'm not picking on this guy at all. Really not. You can tell he's a really kind person. Very, very kind. His heart's in the right place, but his wisdom is not. And there's no video editing from his videos, and there's all these disembodied beings in his video. Like a lot. Like a lot. And every time he sees one, he goes, woo, look at that, woo! It's not funny, actually. One video is like 4 minutes long, 4 minutes and 2 seconds. And I kid you not, it's no exaggeration. And I showed people this in live stream. If you show up in live stream, you want me to pull up one of his videos, I will. One video manifests that starts emitting light, illumination specifically, to be specific, since this video is specific on that front. And it actually comes up and it like kisses his forehead. We don't know if it's actually kissing. And it comes where there's just dozens and dozens of disembodied beings. He's opened up and summoned. He is induced, because the same way electricity is manifest is by induction. Induction, by definition, means to make manifest out of something that's not there. He admits this in other videos. He thinks, well, you know, I'm a light worker and stuff. He's all excited about it. Same way they're excited in the Indiana Jones movie when they open up the Ark of the Covenant at the end. The bad guys do. Like, wow, look at that. That's so neat, look at that. And then, you know, the really, you know, things get very dire, and, you know, things start melting. You remember Indiana Jones at the very end there when they're doing the rituals and everybody's like, wow, look at that. And amazement very, very quickly turns to something totally opposite. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to this guy. I'm not. But I mean, he's, you know, he's reaping his own doom, but he's excited. And I'm like, man, you know, I feel for this guy. You can see he's got a really great heart. But he admits in other videos that he's manifesting and inducing, making to rise these beings. He's conjured them up, which he has, and this is why I laugh at people that laugh at the idea. Oh, is your boy gonna be dangerous? It's a piece of plastic and cardboard made in China. It's like, well, that's exactly true. I mean, and guess what? These dowsing rods are just bent pieces of brass. I got a really nice set over here. Actually, these were given to me. My set's way nicer than these. Like, yeah, these are just bent pieces of wire. Well, that's true, but that's not the point. You know, a tool is not dangerous. What you do with it potentially is. And so, I feel for this guy. That one video, he's got at least 20, 30 disembodied beings flying around him. He's opened up a portal to the other side, and he's conjured them up. So let's get into talking about the three realms. And by the way, everything is about polarity of doors. I've told people kind of a perfect analogy is like, you're not going to use these devices and like talk to grandma on the other side. That's not how it works. It's like looking for good people to, you know, have a chin wag with down on the dangerous wing of your local prison. You know, bad idea. I'm going to go down to where everybody's sentenced to, you know what I mean? That wing, you know, at the local penitentiary. You're not going to find anybody good there. Could you find an innocent person? Yeah, okay, 1 out of 10,000. Okay, he's innocent. Doesn't know or might have forgotten what he did. Same is true of this realm. Anyway, polarity of doors. I want to talk about that. But this is getting into the two lights and the two darknesses, which we'll talk about here in a second, but also to the polarity of this entire universe. And the polarity is this, like the yin and the yang of the Tao. This, and they're not dualities. There are no dualities. When people talk about antinomies, they think, oh, duality, like wet and dry, light and darkness. Well, dry is an absence of water. It's not a thing itself, and darkness is not a thing either. Darkness is an absence of light. It is not a thing. There are sentient beings, either bodied or disembodied, that enjoy that, and they feed on the one in the shadows, but the shadow is not a thing. Like the magnetic and the dielectric, this conjugate geometry, and geometry is not really the right word, the principles that are unified. Magnetic dielectric, the polarity of doors above existence and below existence. Light and illumination. This is principle and attribute. The ether, or what is accurately should be called rest, and modulation, or bhava. You know, these are conjoined unity. One is desirable and the other is not. And it's like, well, if the two are one thing, how could one be desirable and the other not? It's like, therein lies the answer of all metaphysics. All metaphysics summed down into the removal of spiritual modulation, such as bhava nirodha bandham, or yoga chitta vritti nirodha, the subjugation of becoming, bhava, meaning modulation or disturbance, i.e. frequency of spirit, is to be removed, meaning the term, means the term nirvana, or yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Vritti means disturbance or perturbation of the spirit of the soul, i.e. the spirit of sanctum, i.e. chitta. The disturbance is vritti in Sanskrit, which is no different than the Pali word bhava. No different than saying disturbance, no different than saying frequency, no different than saying modulation, i.e. waves of something. But people see, especially today's science, which is totally defunct, they talk about waves as if waves exist. I mean, I'd say waves of what? But I've talked about that endlessly. There's no need to harp on that again. This realm, of course, is the realm of composite matter and spirit. The composite, of course, that is imprinted is the logos. And, of course, the logos conjoins matter and spirit. This particular geometry that's tattooed on the back side of my hand, which is the 115 triangle, the legitimate, not my opinion, fact, the legitimate, ultimate, or summum bonum secret of the Pythagoreans is phrased up in this geometry. That is the logos of existence. You can't join matter and spirit without that third thing. Well, that third thing is a perfect harmonic logos for the manifestation of life. If you want to keep it simple, we'll just say water, which of course it is. That logos that conjoins matter and spirit, which is water. Then we have a disembodied realm of disturbed spirits, but which are not embodied. This guy that has upteen dozens of spirits flying around them, which in prior videos, I'm not picking on him once again, I feel bad that he's, He really is like the old tale of the rooster that, took a peek inside the lawnmower, and he ended up in the stew pot. And, there's a lot of things that are exciting in this world, but there's a difference between exciting and exciting, which is dangerous and perilous. And what he's doing is, of course, perilous, this disembodied realm. It's just under this realm. It is contactable. You can induce it. You can conjure it. And by the way, this is a true definition of magic. That's not the magic that is noble, is desirable. The only thing it does is, it reaps bad things. The realm of agitated souls, and also, too, of demons. And, of course, there's also, too, a transcendent realm. The two realms that are outside of our realm is the realm that's underneath ours, you could say just underneath ours, and the transcendent realm. That's the doorway of theurgy. Abduction, retroduction, theurgy goes by sati, samadhi, apophaticism, from the word jhana, meaning to burn, burning away defilements of false identity and agitation of spirit. What people are contacting are beings that can be contacted, and the only way you could contact a being through such practices, which are bad, is that they themselves are capable of being contacted. Such beings that are capable of being contacted by those means, by means of induction, are not ones that you would want to contact. Like I said, it's like going down to the bad wing of the penitentiary. you're not going to run into any good folk down there to have a chit-chat with or play chess with. That's the transcendent realm. This idea of three realms, by the way, is incredibly ancient. It exists through countless cultures: Pythagoreanism, Platonism, Egyptian, on and on. They actually talk about the triple wheel of the Triratna of Pali and also too of Sanskrit. This is the Trinity that I've talked about, matter and spirit and that which conjoins it. The true Trinity, the original Trinity, or that Triratna. The lotus has arisen, in other words, the manifest lotus. That thing is beautiful, which has, of course, imprinted of it and to it the logos of beauty, the lotus that actually rises up out of the muck and the mud of the pond, for example. The seed of the lotus flower, of course, is the one that's buried deep under the water, underneath the realm of Bhavanubhava, or the realm of becoming that we are in. And then there's the unmanifest lotus. This would be the disembodied being, analogously. This is the Triratna of existences. Actually, existence, once again, the incorrect word. You hear that noise? I think one of the light bulbs is about to blow. It's like, wow, that is a really creepy sound. I don't know if you heard it. If the bulb goes boom! Yeah? I'll edit that out of this video. No, I don't want to edit that out of this video. It's like, oh, I've heard that sound before, but not recently. If it goes pop, and I jump a little bit, you could laugh a little bit with me. Maybe some being on the other side is hearing me and causing the bulb to go boom on me. The two wheels, and this, of course, is the triple wheel, which is found on earliest iconography of the 3rd century, like the Sanchi Top, for example. The two wheels, which is the one wheel of existential beings. And we are, of course, a trinity. All living, palpable psychophysical beings are a trinity of spirit and of matter, and the third thing which joins the two, the cake batter, if you will. What is it? You got eggs and flour and then milk, right? You know, you need those three things. I think more than those three things to make a cake. You have that is the one wheel. The other wheel is the disembodied beings, and the axle, which of course is the unmoved mover. They will refer to it as a third wheel. Of course, in ancient wheels, the horse draws the chariot. That axle doesn't move, and of course, in modern vehicles, the axle does move. People will say, well, what about demons? You'll talk about demons, but how could you deny the absolute as sentient being, i.e., this creationistic idea of God, yet posit demons? They think that one implies the other, and that's not the case. Demons, of course, are powerful spirits that serve agitation and misery and countless other things. They're, they're attached to it in many countless ways, but they in no way posit God. But believe whatever you want. I'm not here to convince anybody of one thing one way or another. That's what I was talking about that last night. One of the earmarks of something being false is that people try to spread it like a virus or a fungus. You know, they're not happy in this, silly little belief system. They're only made happier when they can spread it, kind of like spreading the flu or the cold or something. This, of course, is about magic, both good and bad, and we're talking about conjuring or an induction. An AC generator, of course, is an arch form, and it induces something to manifest. I smelled a smell, kind of like an electrical smell. Of course, this cheap light bulbs made, you know where they're made. You know where they're made at, right? Induction, of course, is making something to rise out of nothing, which is, but definitionally, of course, true magic. Conjuring. People say, well, these things like the planchette and the board, or dowsing rods, or these other talismans, they don't do anything, they're nothing. It's like they themselves are nothing, using them as focusing devices to induce something to appear. That guy, and I don't want to mention his name, I'll tell you in live stream, I show his video. Nice guy. He's just, yeah, I think I smell that bulb burnout. He's doing something that's not good for him. I don't know if you know about Egyptian false doors. These are used as summoning portals. Not to the good side, because those beings are not contactable, rather to the bad side. What can be summoned, of course, is not good. Some of these are innocent, not many, but it's no different than ignorance. And of course, there metaphysically is nearly zero distinction between innocence and ignorance. They're both one and the same thing. Yeah, I can smell that electrical smell. I don't see any smoke or anything like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Always interesting. I'm keeping my eye open. This is the first time in like 8,000 videos I've had to deal with that issue. Maybe some being on the other side is like, I don't want him talking about that. I'm gonna cause this light bulb to smoke or something. Understanding the two lights and the two darkness. You know that's real. You heard that buzzing sound in this video. Two lights and two darknesses. There, of course, the first light is the light of the one, and there's the light of things that are illumined, but not that which is light, rather the false light, just as this idea of light bringer. Well, that sounds good. It's a bringer of light. That's what Lucifer means. That which brings light is not light. That which brings light is illumination, definitionally, and that which brings light is the disturbance or agitation or the scattering of light. If I said, this is the being of scattering light, well, that's bad. Yeah, but what if I said the same thing in a much better way that made you happy to hear it? I call him the light bringer. Now, that which brings light is that which scatters light, and we're talking about illumination. These are the two lights. The two darknesses, of course, are the darkness of rest, or the one, the unseen, the true light, the light of the agathon. And, of course, the darkness is cast by matter. That's the inferior. That's the darkness. Ooh, I almost heard a popping sound. Do I smell something? I keep smelling something. It's got to be that light bulb. This is why you don't leave lights and dryers like plugged in and like leave the house and you come back and your house is burning down, you know? Because the things that, you know, are burning down are cheap things made in a specific country that I won't name, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Evil is marked by, I like to go off these 5 things, and everybody should know about this, and then talk about the 3 realms, the desire realm and the form and the formless realm. Evil is marked by, number 1, its hatred of things that are beautiful and pure and follow natural order. Pali word is Dhamma, the other word is Prakriti. Yeah. Number 2, they can't create anything. They only destroy. They're never known for creating anything, much less things that are beautiful. They hate what is beautiful and pure. Number 3, and you got to keep your eye out for these things regarding evil, is that they only serve and exist to disturb, never to rest. They feed off disturbance and agitation, not only of themselves, but of others. They feed off of it. Kind of like there's certain fish that cause other fish to like stir up the bottom, and that's the way the fish feeds, is that it stirs up the bottom and these little food particles. I forget which fish it is. Or maybe it's that flat fish. You know, it's got its eyes on the side of its head, and it like flops up the bottom of the streams and the creeks and the rivers, and it stirs up the food particles. You know, analogously, that's pretty good. They also, too, just as does everything, and everything must, it feeds off the one, as does, of course, all things, but never at rest. Kind of like the fire, not that this is a real fire, of course, must be perpetually fed. It must be. It's just bottomless. There's no such thing as rest regarding the fire. You got to keep feeding it. You got to keep chopping the trees down. You got to keep feeding the fire. Number 5, the last. There's a couple other minor points of marks, but these are the major one. It sees the world upside down, these evil entities, either embodied or disembodied. It tears down beautiful things, but it doesn't know that the beauty is not in the thing, but in the logos imprinted in the thing. You could take the most beautiful thing in the world and just like mess it around, you know, rearrange it completely, right? I could take this beautiful form of this golden ratio, a cross-section of a nautilus, I could break it in a million pieces and, you know, throw it in a pile, and it's ugly. Nobody would appreciate it. Like, look, it's the same thing. It's like, you're right. The beauty is in the arrangement and the ratio of how it is ordered. But evil, which of course definitionally is ignorant, because if it wasn't ignorant, it wouldn't be evil. It wouldn't fall after the great desire to disturb and destroy things which are beautiful. The logos is never in the thing. Look, I'm going to rearrange the beautiful thing and it won't be beautiful anymore. It's like, yeah, you could do that, but that's not where the beauty is from. It feeds off the despair and despise and and distress of others. Just like little human beings, these entities should only ever be seen but never paid attention to. When you give them attention, you know, you're feeding into them. The greatest lesson I've learned, and it's very true, I've known this for a very long time, but man, it's really true when you put it into practice, is you never feed these things. They don't care if it's good, you're feeding them good or bad as long as you're feeding them. You just don't give them anything that they want. It's like, you're not a good person, you're a bad being. You don't care about the truth. The only thing you want to do is disturb and destroy. I won't feed into it. There's 3 realms, and this is from ancient Pali, but this is even more simplified, but nevertheless, Kama Dhatu, Rupa Dhatu, and the Rupa Dhatu, desire realm. But this refers to Kama, but Kama just means action. This is also, too, the realm of formlessness. Desire, whether embodied and living or disembodied, makes no difference. That desire exists. The form realm, which of course is a reference to sentient beings, the Rupa Dhatu, and the formless realm, Arupa Dhatu. Form, of course, would be analogous to magnetic. Formless would be analogous to the plane of inertia or true rest. The desire realm, Kama Dhatu, which is just the realm of Kama, is either circling the drain or also to the form realm on the periphery of the magnetic field. Because every magnet, there's the magnetic and the dielectric, and there's this plane of inertia, the rest layer, and it's not really a layer, but for sake of conversation, it is a rest layer. I don't smell any more burning. I guess the light bulb gave up. It might pop in 2 seconds. I don't know. I wrote a little article about the Tri Ratna and put it out tonight or tomorrow on my Substack. I hope you like these videos, and if you do, any donations always warmly welcome. I make a bunch of leather belts. If you want one, just send me an email. My email's in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. As I say in Russian, большое вам спасибо, и увидимся. Thank you so much, and lux veritas. Understand the conjugate geometry of the universe and understand the 2 lights and the 2 darknesses. All of this is really, really simple. And understand what true induction is. You're manifesting something out of nothing. Is it good or is it bad? Some people, you know, like to, what is that old saying, to play hopscotch on the railroad tracks? It's like, some people just, they get a kick out of that. And not good, you know. There's a lot of things that are exciting, but exciting good for you and exciting bad for you. I wish people were taught that growing up, but most people are not. Thank you, and goodbye.